I've been calling them, like, I've probably made 5 or 6 calls to Polaris to try to get an issue solved. When I picked a brand new vehicle up off the Polaris dealer, the light, the traction control light was on, and I called them up and to see if they had a fix for it, over the phone. And they said, no, they'd have to see it. So I made like 3 trips to Greensburg and spent a lot of money on gas because I needed 2 drivers because they needed to keep the vehicle overnight, or 3 or 4 or 5 days the last time. And it came back and it was fixed for about 3 or 4 days. And then it went right back to where it was. So the first time I took it back, they said they don't have any idea. They don't have a fix for it. They couldn't fix it. So I said, well, and they told me to call Polaris. So I called Polaris for the 4th or 5th time and told them that the dealer doesn't even have a fix for this problem, this traction control problem. And I said, well, what do I do? I says, I can't drive it because when I'm on a hill, I just spin tire and burn half the rubber off the back tire. And I said, the other problem I have is it's like a machine gun they don't have the back tire of the Polaris covered anymore. And I bought the most expensive Slingshot they had, and I thought I'd at least get a rear fender over the tire. And we were in a bike run the other day, and there was guys telling me that they were getting shot at, like they felt like they were getting shot at with a machine gun because my back tire was throwing gravel from the road towards them, and it was hitting their bikes. And I said, well, I didn't know that. So I called Polaris about that. And I said, I'm having a problem with my bike. I'm shooting gravel on the road because you didn't put a fender on the bike. And I said, that's a dangerous situation because I'm shooting it on people's windshields. I'm shooting it at people along the road. If there's any gravel on the road, it's a dangerous situation. So that was problem number 2. And I spent so far probably about $500 in gas with 2 drivers back and forth on a 2-hour round trip. And I called Polaris, and they told me I was responsible for transportation to get it to the dealer. I says, well, it wasn't my mistake that when you built the vehicle, you wired it wrong somehow, is what the technician told me at the Polaris dealership. So I says, why should I have to pay for your mistakes? I pay for my own mistakes, but I don't think I should have to pay for a multi-billion-dollar company's mistakes. So finally, after arguing with them a while, they brought a flatbed towing truck and towed it back down to Greensburg, and they still have it. They've had it now for 4 days, and I still haven't heard any results back from the dealer why this problem is happening, and no one can seem to fix it. So I called up about asking them to lemon law this vehicle because that's not the only problem I've been having. I says, I have other problems with it too. And then finally, she said she'll get back to me after the dealer looks at it this time. And so far, the dealer hasn't. I called the dealer yesterday, and he said, I still haven't found out what's causing this problem. I thought I had it figured out, but I guess I didn't. So I don't know what to do at this point. And Polaris isn't really helping me much. They don't know either. So I don't know what to do. I have a $37,000 vehicle sitting there that, isn't functioning properly. And I'm just upset about it like anybody else would be. I talked to a human at the time, and the one guy told me to just take it down there and send him a bill for, all the expenses. He says, I agree with you. It really isn't your fault. You shouldn't have to pay all this expenses. I take a day off of work to drive it down there every time, you have a problem. And I said, well, that's fine. And I called them, and they said, well, they fired the guy that said that, not for saying that. They just fired the guy. He's no longer with the company. And I didn't get too far with him. His name was Will. And I asked him what happened to Will. And they said, we got rid of him. And I said, well, is anybody going to take care of this bill? And they said, well, we can't. It's if you read the warranty, it says that you're responsible for the transportation to get the vehicle down to the dealership if you have any problems, and that's a problem. I says, if that was a built-in manufactured problem by Polaris, and I don't think I should have to pay the expenses to get it fixed by paying, probably a couple $100 in gas. Then I had to borrow a driver from the local Chevrolet dealership to drive it down there the one time, and I had to pay a driver. And then he couldn't make it. They said I had to pay him, but he couldn't make it. So I got my friend to take one of my vehicles and follow me down and drive me back. And, I bought him dinner and so on and so forth he gave me all his time that day. And it's just been a real circus. I mean, I don't know what to do. And I called a lemon law attorney, and they said, you definitely have a gripe here. And they asked me to send them documenting all this, and I did. And they're in the process of trying to get it lemon law because no one can seem to fix it. It's been going on for about probably 3 months now. They had it in the heart of the summer for almost a week. The one time I took it down there because they couldn't figure it out. And I said, well, this is the perfect, I was off the whole week. And I said, I can't even drive my Slingshot that I bought to drive in the summer on these beautiful days. We were having some 80-degree weather here. And I said, here we are, where I'd love to go out and go for a ride in my Slingshot, but they still have it down there. And they still didn't figure it out. And then I called the guy and I says, while it's down there, my glove box door won't even shut. So you have to shut it a specific way. You have to push on it and, turn the key in it and stuff like that. It won't shut like a normal glove box. I said, that's very aggravating that this glove box won't shut like a regular glove box. And so he said, I'll order you a new latch. And I'm still in the same boat. We have to really play with it to get it shut. And if I'm afraid to open it up because sometimes it won't shut at all. I mean, this thing's just a real lemon, period. I mean, in actuality, there's nothing else I could say about it. When I did the review with your company, I decided, and they emailed me back and they asked me if I'd do an interview. I said, I'd be glad to. I says, I want everybody to know, but if you go on Polaris's website, on a scale of 1 to 5, they're in the ones. There's so many complaints on there. Nobody's satisfied. There's many, many, many other people that had problems with them, and they have a 1.8 or 1.7 review on all their, on their warranties and so on and so forth. And they're trying to save money by not putting a rear fender on this vehicle. And I'm going to end up breaking somebody's windshield or hitting someone, maybe taking out someone's eye that's walking along the road. And I'm worried about this. And I called the one organization that takes care of stuff like this, road safety services from the government. And they haven't really got back to me or done anything about it yet that I know of. So I replied back to them and said, I sent in a complaint. I'll send it in again and say if you can give me some action here before a tragedy happens with someone where I hit somebody with a step rock or something or wreck them. If a rock comes back on your windshield while you're driving, that you could wreck your car and somebody can get hurt or killed. I says, can you please help me? And so far, I haven't heard back from them either. I'm actually worried about the rear fender more than I am the traction control, because the traction control is a major problem, but the rear fender, is dangerous. The traction control is also dangerous if it starts raining, because you're driving down the road and you lose control of the vehicle in the wet if you take a corner wrong or something like that. And I'm afraid to drive it when it starts raining. And I already got caught in the rain, a hard rain, and this thing was spinning around because the traction control light was on. The switch on the dash for the traction control don't even work. It says on and off. I kept messing with that, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it to come back on. So I pulled over and just sat there for a while in the rain, and turned it off and restarted it. And the traction control light went off. And then I'm driving down the road 15 minutes later, and it comes right back on, and I'm on my way home from Greensburg. So, I just need help. I mean, I just need help with this problem. And I hope this video gets through to Polaris that they have a very bad review from thousands of other people, and they better start taking care of their customers or they're going to lose them. Because I don't think I'll ever deal with Polaris again after this.